The film opens with a montage of Louise Banks's memories. Moments of joy as she gives birth to and raises her daughter, followed by the darkest period in her life, when she is forced to say goodbye to her daughter Hannah forever. The scene then shifts to Louise teaching at the university. One day, just as she begins a lecture, every student's phone goes off with an emergency alert announcing that 12 alien spacecraft have landed in various locations around the world. The sudden event plunges both families and governments into a state of panic. Borders are shut down, and all flights are canceled. In response, the government dispatches specialized teams to initiate communication with the extraterrestrial beings, hoping to understand the purpose of their arrival. However, even after 2 days, these teams are unable to decipher anything the aliens are saying. As a result, Colonel Weber approaches Louise, seeking her expertise to help solve the problem. She is assigned to work alongside Ian Donnelly, a physicist from the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Together, they are taken to one of the landing sites in Montana. Each night at the base, they undergo medical checks and receive immunizations to protect them from potential alien bacteria or viruses. They are then escorted to a conference room where scientists from all 12 countries with landing sites hold virtual discussions to share information and progress regarding the aliens. A representative from Australia explains that the gravity inside the alien ship is unlike Earth's, and surprisingly, the air is breathable for humans. According to their findings, the aliens intentionally created an Earth-like atmosphere inside their ship to invite humans in for communication. Still, Louise and Ian are instructed to wear full protective suits as a safety measure. The alien vessel resembles a massive floating egg. At its base is a door that opens only when humans are standing beneath it, and when the aliens grant access. Just as the Australian team described, gravity inside the vessel functions differently, causing visitors to appear as if walking along the walls. However, direct interaction is impossible, as a transparent barrier separates the two atmospheres, one for the aliens, one for the humans. After their first encounter, Louise identifies a flaw in the initial communication strategy. They had not tried writing anything during their sessions. Spoken foreign words alone were too ambiguous to understand. Thus, Louise begins teaching the aliens human language through written words. The response from the two alien beings is unexpectedly positive. These creatures are later referred to as heptapods. The heptapods begin replying with circular symbols that appear to represent their written language. Meanwhile, social media spreads news of riots, protests, and looting triggered by economic collapse following the aliens' arrival. In North Dakota, 144 religious groups escalate tensions by claiming the aliens' presence fulfills apocalyptic prophecies. In a subsequent meeting, Colonel Weber pressures Louise to directly ask the aliens about their purpose on Earth. This urgency is fueled by recent developments in China, where General Shang has bolstered military defenses in Shanghai. 4 other nations follow suit, supporting China's stance. Despite the pressure, Louise insists that mutual understanding of vocabulary is essential to avoid miscommunication. In the next session, Louise introduces herself by writing her name on a whiteboard. However, the heptapods respond with the same repeated symbol, leading her to believe they might not recognize individual humans while they remain fully suited in protective gear. Louise and Ian decide to take a bold step. They remove their suits and move closer to the glass-like barrier, formally introducing themselves.
Ian, you want to introduce yourself?
Something extraordinary happens. Each of the 2 heptapods responds with a distinct symbol, suggesting they are offering their own names. Since the symbols remain indecipherable at this point, the team gives the aliens temporary nicknames, Abbott and Costello. After returning from the ship, Louise feels physically drained, yet medical staff find no signs of infection, bacteria, or dangerous radiation in her body. Therefore, Louise and Ian are cleared to meet the heptapods without protective suits for future sessions. As the days pass, Louise and her team gradually begin to decipher the heptapods' complex symbolic language. They prioritize teaching words related to the central question: what is the purpose of their visit to Earth? Their efforts are supported by researchers from Pakistan who focus on the aliens' unique writing method. Unlike human languages, Heptapod writing has no fixed shape or direction. The heptapods can form entire phrases in a matter of seconds, while it takes humans several weeks just to formulate a response. 25 days go by. Now, images of the heptapods have spread worldwide, triggering unrest across numerous regions. Citizens demand government action, urging military intervention against the aliens they fear. At the same time, ever since Louise began interacting with the heptapods, visions of Hannah increasingly appear in her mind and dreams. At first, Louise assumes she is simply pushing herself too hard, which could be affecting her health. But Ian offers another explanation. According to him, it might be a side effect of learning a new language. He refers to a theory suggesting that language can fundamentally alter the way we think. The next morning, Colonel Weber receives alarming news. General Shang is mobilizing his forces. The catalyst is a translation from Chinese researchers who interpreted the heptapod's message as stating their purpose was to offer a weapon. General Shang sees this as a threat, an act meant to provoke war among humans. Consequently, he declares hostile action against the heptapods and gives them 24 hours to leave Chinese territory. Unable to verify the translation from the Chinese team, Louise and Ian return to the alien ship. This time, they decide to ask the core question directly. At this point, Louise receives the same answer as the researchers in China. However, she begins to suspect that the heptapod's concept of weapon may have multiple meanings. For this reason, Louise and Ian return to meet with the heptapods to clarify the message. Suddenly, an alarm sounds. China and Russia have severed communication lines. From now on, they will no longer share any information regarding the heptapods. This decision prompts other countries to follow suit, isolating their operations. Agent Halpern receives direct orders to disband the entire team. Though war hasn't officially been declared, the United States must prepare for potential retaliation from the aliens. Meanwhile, Louise refuses to let a misunderstanding ignite a war. She and Ian once again approach the heptapods to clarify the meaning behind the word weapon. This time, they receive several new symbols that appear to relate to technology, tools, and methods. On several occasions, the heptapod taps the transparent screen as if urging Louise to write one of their symbols herself. When she places her hand on the glass wall, visions of her daughter Hannah return, this time more vivid than ever. And in a moment that defies explanation, Louise begins to write in the heptapod's language on the glass wall, as if the ability had awakened within her. Suddenly, a gunshot is heard outside, startling Costello, who reacts by releasing a thick black ink. Without warning, Louise and Ian are pushed out of the chamber as an explosion occurs inside. Later, Louise awakens in the medical bay. A doctor informs her that the explosion was caused by a soldier who had been influenced by alarming posts on social media. Meanwhile, in a separate room, experts examine the last message delivered by the heptapods before the explosion. Ian believes that decoding this message will require collaboration from all teams worldwide. At that moment, loud vibrations and rumbling are heard outside. The heptapod ship is moving. Amazingly, the next morning, Ian successfully deciphers the latest sequence of symbols. But sadly, the Global Research Forum has already disbanded. No one is left to receive or verify the new findings. In Russia, tensions escalate to the point where a scientist is reportedly executed for sharing information with the public. Suddenly, Louise feels a strange pull, as if something is calling to her. She rushes outside and discovers that the heptapods have sent down a capsule to bring her aboard. Inside the alien spacecraft, she finds herself face to face with Costello. But this time, there is no glass wall between them. Costello reveals that Abbott is dying from injuries sustained in the earlier explosion. He also explains that the heptapods have come to assist humanity by offering their technology, which will help ensure human survival for the next 3,000 years. However, they will need help from humanity in return, someday in the future. Costello then reveals that Louise possesses a weapon, or more accurately, an ability, the capacity to perceive the future. This is why the heptapods need her, to help convince others of their peaceful intentions. After this profound encounter, Louise is retrieved by Ian and Colonel Weber. Weber informs her that they must evacuate immediately, as Russia has aligned with China to take military action against the aliens. Moments after dropping Louise off, the heptapod ship repositions itself into a horizontal stance, as if bracing for an imminent strike. The same defensive shift is observed at the other 11 sites across the globe. Back at the base, Louise desperately searches for a way to prevent the human assault. In addition to visions of Hannah, future memories now flood her consciousness. One in particular stands out. In this vision, she's attending a major diplomatic event hosted in China, where global leaders have gathered. General Shang personally thanks her for calling his private number and uttering a message that convinced him to stand down. Shockingly, in this future memory, he hands her his personal phone number. Louise then sees herself repeating the last words spoken by Shang's late wife, words that deeply move him. Meanwhile, in the present, inside the command center, a soldier informs Agent Halpern that someone has used his satellite phone to contact China. Halpern orders his men to track the caller. Eventually, they discover Louise in the act of making the call. Ian arrives and shields Louise from being interrupted. She successfully relays the message, repeating the last words spoken by General Shang's wife. Her message halts the Chinese military's attack against the heptapods. The film concludes with the heptapod ships, including the one in Montana, rising into the sky and vanishing from Earth. In the final scenes, it is revealed that Ian is Louise's future husband, and the visions of Hannah were not memories of the past, but glimpses of what is yet to come. The film ends with Louise fully embracing the future she now sees so clearly.
If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing, you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.